What's popping? What's dropping? This your boy live and direct in full effect out the 832. Y'all already know how Jimmy J Smooth do. I just wanted to do a video on part 2 on Message to My Young Men. Now, when I first did the video last week, got a lot of great views. So I would like to thank everybody who viewed my video. Hope many more would get something out of it so they can learn a lot of game behind it. But nevertheless, I wanted to speak to young men again. There's a few things I forgot to put in there, or I'm assuming there's a few things I put over there because I only played the video back a few times. Not that many times, but I did play the video back a few times. And I wanted to address this before I go into the second half of officially the second half of this. Main thing for young black men, number one, get a mentor. Get around people that you want to be as successful as, if not better than. Make sure the people you're taking advice from is people's lifestyle you really want. Don't take any advice from people that lifestyle you wouldn't really want. You can learn things from them. It's always good to listen to everybody, but actually listening to somebody and activating what you're listening to is two totally different things. So main thing is make sure that you get some guidance from whatever field you're trying to get in. If you want to be a doctor, get around some doctors. If you want to be a lawyer, get a mentor that's a lawyer. I mean, again, it goes back to networking, but main thing is get a mentor. Get somebody that you can look up to that has they don't necessarily have to have a squeaky clean reputation, but someone you can learn from, and you can soak the game up from. You know, people are not going to be perfect, and you shouldn't even try to be perfect, but I'm saying you should try to be the best young black man you could possibly be. So main thing is do everything you want to do on an individual level. Have individual goals before you end up, number one, bringing a child in this world. Number two, call yourself finding a wife. You know, make sure everything you want to do, make sure you've done everything you wanted to do. You know, make sure that you traveled all the places you want to do. You set all the individual goals, so that way when you have the child here, you can teach him something. They can learn something from you when you finally do become successful. Again, when I say people need to wait as long as they can, it is a proven fact that when people wait longer to have children, it is a proven fact they have the likelihood of them having a successful marriage is utterly increasing. You know, even if you do everything you need to do, sometimes it's good to wait 2 to 3, 4, 5 years before you finally have a child with that special person. I'm also going to do a message to black women as well. I might do this today if I have the energy to do this. But if not, I'm still going to do it at some point. But I just wanted to get my message to black men, and I want everything to be clear. But main thing is have your shit together before bringing someone else in the world or having someone in your life. That's the main thing. You know, that's pretty much it as far as that I wanted to touch bases on, because I meant to touch it in the original video, but you know, I wasn't thinking of sure osmosis off the top of my head and stuff like that. So make sure you have everything, you've done everything you wanted to do before, you know, getting involved in marriage, bringing kids in the world, stuff of that nature. Now, this part 2 of the video is for people that actually did some fucking up, for lack of a better term. You know, you had a kid at a young age. You know what I'm saying? You know, you became a teen father, as you see in these two pictures, these two teen father pictures, the light-skinned dude and this man holding his child. And then this image is the image of successful black men walking down the street and stuff like that, and of that nature. Now, guys, for those who had a child at a young age, and when I mean young age, I'll say teen father up to, I say early 20s is relatively young. That is a little bit young. And statistics show that when guys have children at that age, that, the backlash of that can be devastating in terms of financial things. These guys are most likely to commit crimes. These guys are most likely to do something extremely dumb as hell. However, my mentor, his name is Dr. Jerry Bobo. I say go subscribe to his YouTube page, Doc and Winter. Doc and Winter on YouTube. You should see them. They're very successful people I've looked up to over the years. Dr. Bobo in particular, because his wife doesn't have any children. She, personally, she does not have any children. I don't know the age factor with her. She might be little bit older than me. Can't be that much if she is older than me. Maybe a little bit younger than me. But I know Dr. Bobo is at least 41, 42. I'm not trying to make you old, but you're welcome to correct me, Dr. Bobo. You're the mentor, so you're welcome to correct me. Just because you have a kid at a young age. He wasn't a teen father, but I think he was right on that borderline. He can correct me better than I can. But he was pretty young father, from what I understand. He was a pretty young he was a pretty young guy when he had his child. That does not mean you can't be successful. You know what I'm saying? Now, again, I don't recommend anybody, if you don't already have a child, I don't recommend you become a father sooner than your time. But it is more strategic and it's more in your best favor to not have children at a young age. But if you happen to be a young father, that doesn't mean it's the end of the world. It's just, at this point, you need to go harder than what the average person is going. I say that to the people that have a teen father, who are a teen father, because the odds are going to be stacked against you tremendously. It was a kid that I knew that I was real close to. He had a kid, I think, at 17, 16 years old, and his mother is doing everything she can to make sure he gets his shit together. So she took control of the situation. Good thing for him. She took control of the situation. She finally got her not licensed to be a registered nurse. Got through all her certifications. So she's stepping up to the plate and making sure he's in a great situation. But this is not always the case. A lot of times these guys come from a single mother home. A lot of times these mothers are child themselves, and a lot of times there's not a support system to provide for a teen father / young father. You know what I'm saying? And I'm speaking to the young fathers out there, not speaking to the single mothers. I will speak to them on another occasion. But I just need to get my men right, because I know situations to where, I know quite a few situations to where it was devastating, and I knew quite a few situations to where the guys was able to get their shit together. You know what I'm saying? I knew quite a few guys that was younger than they supposed to before they had children. Knew some guys that was on the borderline of being too young, but it just so happens they had their child at that particular time, and they're doing pretty good. But again, if you have a child sooner than you want to have a child, it's not the end of the world for you. It is not the end of the world for you. I know a guy personally, another guy outside of Dr. Jerry Bobo, who's my roommate's brother. He's a 6-figure earner. He's doing a damn thing. He had a child at 18. In 18, you're still a teen by definition. Over 20, you're still young. I say between 20, I think at 20, anything before 25 is relatively young, in my personal opinion. I say 25 and 26 is pushing it. You're pushing it. And this is from my recommendations. on when to have children or when you should even consider it. But if you happen to be a young father, I say just go hard. If you don't have a support system, that's where the trickiness comes in. Because a lot of guys who have children at young age, they most likely to, rob, steal, in some cases kill just to provide those kids. In the case of Jay Prince, he had a child. I think right around I think he was basically a teenager. He was either a teenager or he was pretty young. I'll say that to be a teen father, but he ended up becoming a successful businessman. You know what I'm saying? These are dudes that went hard, but the thing that Jay Prince had to do to provide for Jay Prince Jr. was basically he had to sell dope out in Fifth Ward, and this is by his own admission, unfortunately. But he had a plan to go along with doing the things he did, and then he was in the era to where you can sell dope and you don't get caught as fast as you do now. I wouldn't even recommend that shit. And I'm not advocating people go out there and do anything illegal. I am not advocating that under any circumstances. I am not advocating go do something illegal to provide for your child, because the consequences. But I say in the 80s to about 90s, a guy could, make millions of dollars and not be seen by the feds. You could do that at that particular time. Now, I don't know his actual number on how much he made, but from what I understand, because I did listen to Jay Prince's Respect, he did make millions of dollars in the game, and he wanted to make millions of more being legit, and he went out his way to be as legit as possible. But at that time, a lot of banks wasn't checking. You had to bring a shitload of money before people started tracking your money down. But in today's society, in today's law enforcement, when you make $3,000, $5,000, that's when they start tracking you. Because the thing is, it's a lot of $500 dope boys out here that the feds ain't even looking at. You know what I'm saying? If you can't get $500 at a time, ain't no feds is gonna be looking at you like that. For the most part anyway. But when you making that first $5,000, that's when that's when them feds start looking at you, and they try to build cases up on you. And that's something you just don't want to get into, to have to provide for your child. But the long of the story is, I will tell a young father, if the odds are stacked against you, from what I understand, you can get assistance. You can get government assistance if you happen to be a single father. If you're in a situation to where family is likely to help you with the child, I say take that route. Take that opportunity to let family members help you, because you'll be surprised what family members will actually help you. A lot of times your mother is not going to help you, but an auntie or uncle or a grandmother, usually grandmother is going to help before anybody. I mean, that's just the way it is in most cases. But even if you're not in that situation, I would probably say try to take up a trade. Get government assistance to try to take up a trade or something, if it's possible. If not, you're gonna have to work, and you're gonna have to bite the bullet and do what you need to do. But there are assistants out there for you as a single father. Like I was talking to a guy years ago when I was in my early 20s. A guy was going to school to be a doctor, and he was a single father of 4 girls. They just happened to just throw money at him. He was going to school to be a doctor. Now, I don't know how his situation turned out, but I know they just threw government assistance at him in terms of going to school and everything. And I'm pretty sure that it's hard. But main thing is, if try to get a team around you. Try to get around some people. If your mother ain't able to help or your family ain't able to help, try to get around somebody that is willing to help you. Get around somebody that is been where you been, to where you don't have to do anything illegal. Because people who are in similar situations know what to do in that situation. I say look for somebody that has been in that same situation and get some game from them. Again, this is not at the end of the world if you're a single father. I know success stories that guys took care of their kids, young fathers, suited and booted, just like this man right here. Just doing the damn thing. Dr. Jerry Bobo, who's my close mentor, was relatively I don't think he was a teen father, but he was a young father. If you're in the workforce and you just happen to have a kid pop up on you, you're probably more in an advantage than someone who's is a teen father. Somebody who's of age, which means not legal, not 18 yet, because sometimes in certain situations when people see a teen father, in certain situations people will just help you, but there are situations where people ain't gonna help you, and you feel like you got to do something illegal, but that's not the case. I say still go to school, still at least get your diploma out the way. At least if you have to work and go to school, that's something you just gonna have to do. Some cases, these guys have to move out. If you can, and you're the one raising the child, because a lot of times most teen fathers are not the ones raising the child, but their check is garnished like a motherfucker. It just is what it is. One thing you need to do is get visitation rights. Don't ever give up your visitation rights. Make sure you got visitation rights, and when you start working, before anything is anything, try to make an agreement. Let's say you don't have. Let's say you're not the one raising the kids, but you want child support. I say try to make, or you're not on child support, but your baby mama needs financial assistance. Before y'all get in front of these white folks' faces, y'all need to try to get a thing going to where you pay her a certain amount a month, and then make sure you're doing more than I'll say make sure you're doing more than enough, but don't do too much, I should say, because that's when shit hits the ceiling. Now, if you just happen to be with your baby mama, y'all don't plan on leaving each other or nothing like that, both of y'all asses need to be working, and you need to get with the families and try to see who's going to watch the kids, who's going to be there for the kids. Sometimes in these families, you got older siblings. Sometimes you got younger siblings or siblings who are in close proximity of age to watch the kids. That'll help you financially, because when you're looking for a babysitter, you sometimes you may have an older sister that has a part-time job and is able to watch the kid, or older brother or younger brother that's in close age range of you. Try to get them to help provide for you in terms of child care. Now, if you happen to spend money with child care, sometimes it's just good to pay a babysitter or pay a little family member who pay a family member here and there. I mean, it's ways around this. I know some fathers out there, single fathers out there that made it do what it do. You know what I'm saying? But if y'all happen to be together, y'all planning on stay together, make sure the families are on one accord when it comes to watching the child. The the child, make sure the well-being of the child is going to be well taken care of. Now, if you're not planning on ever being with her, you became a father at a young age. Your baby mamas happen to be younger. Some cases the baby mama is older, but nevertheless, y'all want to try to, before y'all get in that courthouse, try to make an agreement on how much you're going to give her a month to take care of the child. Make an agreement, if she's of age. We're talking about teen fathers. I'm not talking about, well, it could be used for people of age as well. I should say people that are adults. Y'all need to try to work something out between there's a set financial agreement, because once it get into the court's hand, it goes through the courts, and then the mother's just only gonna get a small portion of it anyway. So try to make an agreement and make sure you're taking care of your child. Make sure your kids have food, clothing. Make sure that kid is straight. There's nothing worse than seeing a mother struggle to feed her kids, struggle to have the basic necessities for kids. There's nothing worse than that. Main thing is make sure your kid gonna be straight. I know you're young, and this is why I don't recommend young people, but make sure your damn kid is straight. Now, if you have a funny feeling that your baby mama will put you on child support, or y'all at odds with one another, you need to go down to the courthouse first. Because if she goes down there before you do, you in major trouble, and you finna have a garnishment issue. So if there's something in the back of your mind that says to you, my baby mama's gonna probably put me on child support, I say go down there and put yourself on it. That way you get her before she gets you. In certain cases, this does work. In certain cases, you won't have as much of a financial burden on yourself as you would on anybody else. Now, granted, don't get behind on your child support. Do what you need to do to provide for that child. I know a guy personally who child support a month was $175. Now, granted, he provided other things for the child and other things for the baby mama and stuff like that, but the court ruled that he could only pay $175 a month. Now, sometimes $175 could be hit or miss for some people. Sometimes that $175 make a major difference. But if you feel like that woman is gonna probably try to shank you, because I've seen cases where women, when they went down to the courthouse, they got very disappointed with what the judge ruled. I know a situation. He was a much older guy. I remember a situation where a guy was giving his baby mother $5,000 a month. The guy's no longer with us. Rest his soul. The guy was giving her $5,000 a month. He operated his own truck for many years, and the judge cut that down to like, I want to say 2,000, 1,000, 2,000, some shit like that. It was cut down to what he was giving her. Because the guy he was making damn money, so he was basically giving her half because he was doing the damn thing. He wasn't rich, but what he was giving her wasn't hurting him under no circumstances. And the judge was like, "Shit, we gonna give you." I think it was right around 2,000. I'll just say 2,000, but it was right around that number. And woman had a rude awakening. So I say go down there before she goes down there, if anything. If anybody have any comments in the comment section on what people need to do, by all means do that. You know what I'm saying? I don't know everything about how the system works. I've seen situations on how the system works, but I don't know everything. But I know how certain things work. I've seen how certain things work. And I've seen situations to where people, they happen to have a baby mother, and shit went south, so they did beat her to the punch. But main thing is don't ever get behind to where, because if you get behind, I've known situations where dudes paycheck was just getting gross payment or garnishing their bank accounts. That's not the thing you want to do. Your W-2, your tax refund is not worth shit. So main thing is make sure that child is provided for. If you're able to get into college or take up a trade, I recommend people to take up a trade before they decide to jump into college. But if you're able to get into college, I would suggest, if you're a young father, I suggest go to community college. That way, you don't have to wait as long to go, to get in your field. And once you hit that community college, depending on what you're trying to do, going and get your education out the way, because your child needs you. Your child needs you to make money as soon as possible. But I say, get into a community college and, get your thing together. If you're able to, I say one route you can go is do Uber part-time and go to school part-time. Go to school part-time or full-time, whichever one makes it more convenient for you. But the main thing is make sure your child is taken care of. Make sure you and your baby mother has a rapport. And if y'all bickering and bitching and you can't deal with that heifer, for lack of a better term, then shit. Well, I'll see you in court, and whatever I planned on giving you outside of the court, what the court tells me, shit, well, you're just gonna get a fraction, but my child gonna be taken care of either way. And even if the courts get involved and you don't pay much or nothing in child support, shit, still provide for that child. A lot of times child support is not going to be enough. So sometimes you do something outside. If you can get custody of them, but if your child needs your mother more than she would ever need you, then make sure that child is taken care of in any rate. Also, like I said earlier, try to get the uncles and aunties involved and stuff like that to take a lot of pressure off you. Have your siblings come pick them up and stuff like that. Have them do little things. A lot of that goes a long way. A lot of stuff goes in a long way. Now, again, just because you're a single father, or just because you're a young father, don't mean it's the end of the world for you. Again, I cannot stress this enough to you. So, make sure that the families are involved. As many people in the family are involved as possible in terms of support you. And if you got to do everything by yourself, then put your head down and do it. One place of thing that for some people would work, if you're in the Catholic Church, this is not obvious. This is pretty. I wouldn't recommend you do this in the Catholic Church, but sometimes the church helps a lot for teen fathers, provide assistance for teen fathers. So look into that as well. If you happen to be a guy that had a kid at a young age and happen to have to be in a situation to where you have to raise them by yourself, or you and your significant other is trying to raise it together, look into certain church organizations to help you out with the child as well. But nevertheless, young men, make sure that you're able to provide for your child on the long term. Try to hold down your job as long as you possibly can before you complete school. If you plan on just staying in the job force, then good luck to that. But I would say move up in the job as quickly as possible, because providing for a kid is not easy, especially being young and providing for a kid. That's not easy. So that's, of course, unless you big balling like that. But even then, you kind of want to be in a situation where you're ready. You're ready for that. You know what I'm saying? But most definitely, man. So to my young men out there who has children and stuff like that, get as much assistance as you possibly can. And don't be in a rush to have another child. I know that's the pressure is, kids are expensive. Kids can be a handful. But if you still with your baby mother and her family's trying to tell you some dumb shit, like wait on that. Just wait on that. And then once y'all in a situation to where y'all straight, then if you want another one, get another one, but make sure y'all are financially secure before you have another one. Don't bring 2 and 3 kids in the world and both of you motherfuckers is working at McDonald's. That shit is just trifling right there. So, establish yourselves, and then, once you establish yourself, then if another kid if you're ready to bring another little one in the world, then do that. But if you happen to be a young father and you made the mistake of becoming a young father, get as much assistance as you possibly can. Get as many family members as you possibly can. Like I said, if you don't have a relationship, the best relationship in the world with your mother, because women go through this too. That's another thing a lot of single mothers go through is their moms are not in the they're not in the best situations with their mom to be there, and a lot of times these single mothers have to move out, and then they have to do things that they otherwise would not want to do. Like I say, that don't mean you can't be mentored either. Get around some people that you're cool with, that is willing to help out, and make sure your kid is straight, number one, and then the rest will come. And I think once you're in a situation to where you straight and providing for the kid is not an issue, then like I say, go ahead and have children. Go ahead and do some of the things you want to do, but don't let it be at a detriment. It's okay to have fun and you got kids and stuff like that, but never let your fun be at the detriment of your child. That should never happen in this lifetime or this next lifetime. Think about the kid, number one, and then if you're going to have fun, party, and do a thing, okay, it's because I believe you need to get certain things out your system anyway, because my belief is what you don't complete, you will repeat, in the words of Tariq Nasheed. So, excuse me. Once you get as much assistance you have, even if you have to provide all the assistance yourself, that's not out of the question that you can be successful in spite of having children. Plenty of guys like Lil Wayne, LeBron James, the rock singer Rod Stewart had a child at 15. From what I understand, Lil Wayne had a child at 15. So. But those guys had support systems in place, and if you don't have one in place, then I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure somebody would support you, but in case you don't, just put your head down and do what you got to do to provide for that child. And if you go jump directly into the workforce with no education or anything, try to move up as quickly as possible. That way, providing for the kid is easy. Another consideration, and I'm not a fan of this either, is military. Go get into the military if you have to. Sometimes, for me, I personally don't suggest it, but if you just gotta go into the military, there are benefits for people that have children in the military. That's not a bad idea either. You know what I'm saying? There definitely assistance programs for people that's in the military with children, young fathers in the military with children. I don't recommend people go there, but if you just have to, I say do that shit. Just make sure you're disciplined enough to do that, and make sure that just make sure you got somebody there to watch the kid while you're doing your basic training. Because once basic training hits, I don't know exactly how everything goes. If somebody in the comment section have been in the military that, ended up in the military after they had their child, just please, say something in the comment section, hit me in the inbox or email me or something. But, from what I've understand, that does help. It does help in terms of assistance. I know they got programs, but again, make sure that kid is provided for, and make sure you do what you need to do to make sure your kid grows up and has a better life than you do. Once again, this your boy, live and direct, in full effect out the 832. Y'all already know how Jimmy J Smooth do. Peace out.